Hello, everybody. My name is Walker Lawson. My current events project is on New York Governor Chris Cuomo's COVID-19 nursing home scandal. So let's get started with the who. Of course, the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo. What? Andrew Cuomo's policies could have led to an increasing number of deaths in New York's nursing homes. There has been an investigation uncovered that the number of deaths in the nursing home have almost been 50% unaccounted for, and that is according to the New York State Attorney General Letitia James. Where did this happen? New York, in the United States. When? Cuomo enacted the policy that caused, or is alleged to have caused, these deaths on March 25th of 2020. Why? Cuomo told the nursing homes to accept any residents who may or may not have COVID-19 symptoms, saying it was based on the CDC and Trump administration guidelines. How? 3 of Andrew Cuomo's top aides came forward in an interview after the investigation started, confirming that they had rewritten the COVID-19 reports and admitted 9,250 deaths. So what? This is important because the governor of New York was awarded for his work on the COVID-19 crisis in nursing homes. It has been expected that his policies may have led or increased COVID-related deaths in nursing home, and that a large number of deaths may have been covered up. So the sources I examined, the first one is the New York Times. The New York Times is a newspaper which was started out in 1851. It won over 100 plus Pulitzer Prizes. The second source I chose is the Associated Press. It is a newswire, started in 1846, and it's an independent global news organization dedicated to factual reporting and unbiased. The third one I chose is Mother Jones, which is a mainstream progressive liberal outlet, which was started in 1976. It's named after Mary Harris Jones, who is an Irish-American activist. And the fourth source I chose is The Blaze. It is known as a mainstream conservative outlet. It is the newest of all of them. It launched on December 3rd in 2018. The network has been founded by former Fox News anchor Glenn Beck and is also known for bringing up many conservative stars like Tomi Lahren and Michelle Malkin. So let's start off with the first lead that I analyzed, which was from the New York Times. And as you can see, it says, the top aides to Governor Andrew M. Cuomo were alarmed. A report written by state health officials have just landed. It included a count of how many nursing home residents in New York had died in the pandemic. I looked at this as a summary lead. It gets straight to the point of the report that showed up about Andrew Cuomo's nursing home deaths. It gave you all the information you needed to know right then and there. Obviously, it's going to draw your attention, but it was also written in passive voice. The next lead I chose to write about was the Associated Press's lead. It says the New York Governor Andrew Cuomo faced mounting challenges to his leadership on the coronavirus pandemic Wednesday as state lawmakers threatened to strip him of the power to issue emergency orders, and federal investigators scrutinize his administration's handling of nursing home data. I saw this as an anecdotal lead. It unfolded slowly and gave information, and then it concluded to how important this information was. What I really enjoyed about the lead is it showed what's happened and now what they're planning to do about it and how things are evolving in that court for him. The next is the Mother Jones. It says New York's 2 Democratic senators, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, released a statement Friday afternoon joining the chorus of voices in Congress calling for Governor Andrew Cuomo's resignation. I looked at this as a blind lead. It excludes the main information and just informing the readers of the people calling for him to step down. It doesn't explain why. Excluding information about why helps intensify interest for many readers due to him having 2 scandals now recently, instead of just 1. The next lead that I decided to cover was the Blaze's lead. I looked at this as a narrative lead. As you can read, as New York Governor Andrew Cuomo faces articles of impeachment over covering up COVID-19 deaths in nursing homes and multiple allegations of sexual harassment, there is renewed scrutiny of his administration's mishandling of the pandemic, including focus on an executive order that requires homes for people with developmental disabilities to accept coronavirus patients. This is a narrative lead. It puts us right in the thick of all the issues and problems he's facing. It covers the COVID scandal, impeachment, sexual harassment, and then it goes back in to explain what order he put in place led him to this position. I have an overview. The New York Times, Associated Press, and Blaze all included the issues. Mother Jones lead did not include the scandal. The New York Times, Mother Jones, and the Blaze were all in active voice. I said that the Associated Press was passive in discussing what had happened, and Mother Jones and the Blaze were shockingly not biased leads. Now let's take a look at the first photo I have, which is of Andrew Cuomo addressing the press. I thought it was kind of smart of the New York Times to pick this photo because it does cover specifically what he was doing. He's been addressing the public over his COVID-19. He was having meetings every day on air. And I think this was a good photo to just kind of tap in and show what his day-to-day was like. The Associated Press, which I haven't covered a little bit about what happened in this part of the story, but the cover photo actually allowed you to click and see two faces. So I put Andrew Cuomo on the left because he was the first face that you'll see when the article opens. But the second one is Ron Kim. And you may be asking why Ron Kim is up here as a main photo. But Ron Kim basically was on the phone with Cuomo discussing the policies. And Cuomo, in quotes, told him he would threaten to destroy him in a private phone call. I thought it was very important because the Associated Press is very unbiased. And in this article covering Andrew Cuomo, they made it a point to highlight Ron Kim, the Democratic leader of Queens, as an important face in this pandemic. And I actually really appreciated the AP for doing that. The next we have Mother Jones. The cover photo is, of course, of Andrew Cuomo. Some other content that they had in there was a tweet from Andrew Solindar covering Gillibrand and Schumer resigning. I didn't really think Mother Jones did too much with any of their photos. It just seemed to be very bland. This was the only multimedia that I really saw other than a tweet. The Blaze was also bland in regards to their multimedia. It was just a photo of Andrew Cuomo. There was really nothing that drew your attention in regards to multimedia, which was also kind of sad because the Blaze and Mother Jones had a chance to really do something with their multimedia, kind of like the AP did right here again with Governor Cuomo and Ron Kim. So my favorite quote from the New York Times had to be, "They rewrote the report to take it out, according to interviews and documents reviewed by the New York Times." So it gave an honest outlook that there was information being hidden from Andrew Cuomo's team. That tells you right there, according to interviews and documents reviewed by the New York Times. There was an interview with multiple people from the New York Times, and they're the outlet who is actually able to gain or access information from direct people in Cuomo's team. My favorite AP Associated Press quote, was in regards to the governor accused Kim of being unethical for backing nail salon owners as lawmakers discuss safety and wage reforms of the industry in 2015. Kim has initially supported the reforms but later opposed some of them after getting support from salon owners. I enjoyed this because Governor Cuomo called him unethical, and I think that happened back in 2015, so it allows you to see where they were led to now. In regards to Mother Jones, I didn't have a favorite quote. I found Mother Jones's reporting and quotes to be subpar. The Blaze, my favorite quote from them, had to be this one right here, where they spoke to Mark Martucci, a Republican sorry, I read that wrong. In the quote, it says circumstances and decisions made early in the pandemic may have contributed to the higher case rate of people living with IDD in residential group homes who tested positive for COVID-19 or who had presumed infections during the time. Were required to return to their residential setting with instructions to sequester. I found that quote very important because it gives you all the details you need to know right there. Circumstances and decisions made early in the pandemic may have contributed, and that's what they're investigating. In conclusion, so for my summary, I said in conclusion, the New York Times and the Associated Press both were unbiased and pretty straightforward, calling all of Cuomo's actions out, considering them to be liberal sources from many conservatives. I found it interesting that they were very unbiased. I found that only one article used any form of tweet or social media. I found Mother Jones's article to be extremely short and in no detail. It excluded almost all the information from the COVID deaths and really only referred to the people calling them out. In conclusion, I found all the articles to be detailed, informative, and mostly did have slight biases, especially the non-mainstream ones. So meaning Mother Jones and The Blaze did tilt their articles a little bit more in favor.